I thought I could unsay it, undo it, unlive it. After I came out, I thought the hardest part was over. But the truth is, sometimes the hardest part begins right after. Because when the world changes around you, you start wondering if freedom was worth the cost. I thought maybe, if I just went back to pretending, people would love me again the way they used to. I thought I could go back into the closet, back into that small silent safety I once knew. But I was wrong. Because once you've tasted air, you can't learn to breathe in the dark again. This is the story of the day I tried to go back, and failed beautifully. When I first came out, it felt like flying. Like my chest had finally opened up after years of being locked shut. I could say my name and not flinch when people asked, "So, are you seeing anyone?" For the first time, I didn't have to edit myself. I could talk about girls the way my friends talked about boys. Casually, openly, honestly. But freedom comes with a kind of visibility that can be terrifying, because once you're seen, you can't hide again without feeling like you're vanishing. And soon, people began to look at me differently, not cruelly, just differently, with hesitation. With that uncomfortable pause between understanding and judgment. Some friends stopped calling. Some relatives avoided eye contact. And my mom, she didn't yell. She just went quiet. That quiet hurt more than any words ever could. So I thought, maybe if I just tone it down a little, stop mentioning girls, dress softer, laugh it off when people say, "You'll find the right guy one day." I told myself it was just temporary. A little hiding for comfort, but deep down, I knew it was fear wearing logic's mask. That's how it started. The slow, careful retreat into the dark. There was a boy, let's call him David. He was kind, patient, funny, exactly the kind of boy my mom had prayed I'd bring home someday. And for a while I tried to convince myself that maybe I could. He asked me out one afternoon, and instead of saying no, I said yes. Because saying no would have meant facing the truth I was running from. On our first date, he reached for my hand across the table. His touch was gentle, but it made my chest tighten. I smiled anyway. Pretending comes easy when you've practiced it your whole life. We talked, we laughed, we walked by the water afterward. It was peaceful, but in a hollow, echoing kind of way. Like listening to a song you've heard 1,000 times, but no longer remember the lyrics to. At the end of the night he kissed me, and the world went silent. Not the romantic kind of silence. The kind that feels like a warning. Every part of me screamed no, but my mouth stayed still, because saying no meant losing the illusion of normal. That night, I stared at the ceiling and told myself, "This is fine, you're fine, this is what people do." But it wasn't fine. It was survival pretending to be love. And when you spend too long surviving, you start to forget what living feels like. A week later, my friend invited me to a small party. I told myself it'd be harmless. A few laughs, some music, maybe another night of pretending. But that night changed everything. Because that's when I saw her. Sophie, someone I hadn't seen in months. Someone who used to make me feel like my whole world was suddenly brighter. She smiled when she saw me. And in that smile, I remembered every reason I came out in the first place. We talked for a while. Her voice felt like home. It was the first time in weeks that I wasn't performing. Then David walked in. He saw us, the closeness, the ease, the softness between us. He didn't say anything at first, just watched quietly, and I froze. He finally came over, smiled politely, and said, "Hey, you okay?" I nodded too quickly. The way people do when they're lying and they know it. He looked between us for a moment, then said something I'll never forget. "You don't have to do this," he said softly. "You don't have to pretend." I blinked, caught off guard. "What do you mean?" I asked. He smiled, a sad, kind smile, and said, "I can see it, you're not here, not really. And that's okay. You deserve to be somewhere that feels real. And in that moment I realized the truth. The person I was lying to the most wasn't him, it was me. He didn't get angry. He didn't yell. He just left quietly, leaving behind a strange sense of peace I didn't expect. Because sometimes the kindest thing someone can do for you is let you go back to yourself. After that night, I stopped trying to fix myself. Because I finally understood. There was nothing broken to begin with. Pretending doesn't make people love you more. It just teaches you to disappear beautifully. For weeks I replayed that moment in my head, the moment he told me I didn't have to pretend. And the strange part? I felt gratitude. Because he said what I couldn't say to myself. I realized how much energy I had wasted, trying to make other people comfortable with my truth. I had been shrinking myself to fit their expectations, and calling it peace. But peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from authenticity. Being queer means constantly relearning how to choose yourself, over fear, over approval, over convenience. The night I stopped pretending, the air felt lighter, food tasted better, music sounded alive again. It wasn't a grand transformation. Just small things, like being able to look at my reflection without flinching, like saying my own name and believing it. That's when I realized, coming out isn't a single moment. It's 1,000 little moments of coming back to yourself every time you're tempted to hide. If you're listening to this right now, and part of you wants to crawl back into the shadows, I get it. I really do. The world can make you believe that shrinking is safer than shining, that silence is softer than honesty, but it's not. Silence bruises too, it just does it quietly. You can try to go back, but the closet won't fit you anymore. It's too small for the truth you've already lived. Your coming out journey isn't about one brave day. It's about every day after, when you choose to stay real, even when it's hard. And that choice? That's what makes you powerful. To everyone out there hiding behind old masks, I hope you remember this. You don't need to be normal, you just need to be you. The world might take time to understand, but don't spend that time undoing yourself. You don't owe anyone the version of you that fits their comfort. You only owe yourself the peace of being seen. Truly, fully, loudly. And if you've ever tried to go back and failed, congratulations. Because that failure means your truth is stronger than your fear. If my story spoke to you, tell me yours in the comments. Even if it's just one line, even if it's still whispered, your words might reach someone who needs them tonight. And if you want to be part of a space where lesbian stories, queer stories, and real voices are celebrated, hit subscribe. Stay here. This is a place where every voice matters, even the ones that still shake.